Okay. Hello, 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 hello. Penny Wren Media. Bum 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 bum. Penny Wren Media. Skaka tika tika da 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 da. Because I don't have my normal intro music. Hello. Friday afternoon, 4:28 p.m. Not streaming, but recording to share. There's something about the streaming button that just makes me all nervous inside. Do you see my version 2 Penny Wren Media video playing on the white TV, the little white TV? Do, do, do. Baby, you play my movie. Little white TV. And da do da do da da do da da. So this so this TV is here because, oh gosh, and so is my cup from Wawa. Apparently it's Hoagie Fest today. Wawa Hoagie Fest means that, so you usually get a foot long sandwich for $8 something, and now you get not only the sandwich, but you get a medium drink and potato chips too for the same amount. So Brian picked some up on the way home from the gym, and we had that for lunch, and we ate it outside on the patio, and it was lovely. Anyway, this video is people probably think that I'm so in love with myself. I mean, my parents gave me a great name, 2 N's in the front, 2 N's in the back. Pennywrenn, Penny Wren. A stage name so good that there is literally someone who stole mine. I swear she knows me somehow. I don't know. Only God knows, unless for some reason it comes to her recollection or I come across her feed one day. But there is a burlesque dancer named Penny Wren who spells her name with 1 N, who is not me, and for a time was showing up in my search results. So much so that, let's see if she's in there now. Let me share my screen. Let's Google Penny Wren, and I like to check my search results every now and then anyway. Okay, Instagram is number 1. I only have 420 followers. LinkedIn is number 2, 2.1. Oh, this lady has come up in my search results for a long time too. This woman, I think she's a banker. Yeah, she's a banker. And this woman also, she comes up in my search results. Oh, and she's no longer with us. Interesting. An obituary. Let's see, show more images. Okay. Now these are all me. Not this. This is the business banker lady. Okay, that's me. That's my page. Now this is about my father. Wren Sr. is a military veteran. This is an article I wrote for Oprah. Oh, right. This is a blog that I literally just published not too long ago. And I've got to fix the HTML on that so that it shows up as secure. You see this in the corner? It says not secure. That's some code that you have to fix. Penny Wren Media on iHeartMedia. What's this? Oh, wow, this is my Brian and Penny album, which is an album that I made for my husband, and I'll play you some songs from it. Oh, let me make sure that the input capture is set to pick up the audio. Hello, hello. Yes, it is. Okay. So let's play. Let's enter full screen, shall we? Okay. So this is a song called Serious About My Shit. I hope it'll play it. It doesn't make me sign up.
Like a relentless weed, moderate to severe Crohn's disease or ulcerative.
You're the only handsome in my life.
Oh, look at that.
You're the only handsome in my life. You are the only handsome in my life.
wrong version. Okay, let me just cut that out here. Let's go to Spotify, huh? That's not even why I logged on today, but now I've started something that I can't finish. So, let's see if I can just go to Spotify real quick. Spotify. Log in. And let's see, Brian plus Penny. There it is. All right, I want to play you. I'm serious about my shit. It's the ultimate. It's the last track number 25.
You know, I am serious about my shit. You know, I am serious about my shit. You know, I am serious about my shit. I am serious about my shit. I take my shit very seriously. If I'm not serious about my shit, then I don't know who else will be. If I don't take myself seriously, then how will you take me seriously? When I walk in a room and I'm serious about my shit, I'm serious about my shit.
So this is me, you know, honestly, just hyping myself up, you know, as my husband's partner, so that I can push forward with my goals and make sure I'm showing up as the partner that he deserves, and, you know, and making myself show up that way. So, yeah, I mean, look, as my friend Bridget says, and I'm pretty sure someone said it to her, marriage is more than a notion. So, who knew that I didn't know that there were so many um, self-esteem growth opportunities, you know, growth opportunities to bolster one's self-esteem. You know, we all have, what do you want to call it? We all have our weaknesses when it comes to our sense of security and okayness in the world. We all have a voice in our head that's an inner critic. We all have our not good enough version of ourselves that we are, you know, always running away from, and a better than version of ourselves that we're always running toward. We're always living in the disparity between the real self and the ideal self. And as living in that world of just latent opportunity, basically, that's really where the idea for 101 Ideas was birthed. So today I posted on on Instagram, a list of 101 problems set to the tune of Jay-Z's 99 Problems. And meant as a sneak peek to the types of solutions, you know, that the solutions that we'll be walking through on July 4th, right, that they are tied to what I think, many of which we could all agree upon, are different problems in the country right now. And I was going to go through that list of problems. And also, I want to demonstrate some of how I am using ChatGPT specifically to get my messaging clear. I am a writer who has to refine. I have to really work at refining my message, because I do think in a way that, in a nonlinear way. I think in a nonlinear way, and so it can be difficult for me to compress my arguments into chain of reasoning logic. So that's what I've been pushing through for the last day or so. And particularly, I've been pushing through it with, I think about the vehicle that I want to use. And so one of the interviews I did today for the broadcast is with my baby cousin, Christian. He is my cousin Patrice's son. He's 6 years old. And I see him as, I think everybody in the family sees him as, he's just this jewel. He is this burst of light and curiosity and self-possession. He walks into a room, and even when he might be feeling shy, he walks into a room and he's just at one, and at one with like everybody who's in the room. And you know, that's a gift for a child. It's an openness of heart and mind that he uses to express himself. He says, he's always respectful, but also still he leads with curiosity, and with kids that can be tricky. Also, he wears glasses, and his glasses are so adorable on him. And I have long thought that there's got to be a business or a brand that is probably spending millions, or if not, at least hundreds of thousands, if not millions, on marketing or customer acquisition, and giving it to companies that may or may not be proving return on investment, right? And that there's room in that middle layer of the mediator between customer and commercial institution. Because to the marketing company, you know, they are the firm between the client. They think of the commercial institution as a client. And I believe that when you only are wearing your client hat to see a business, you mistakenly only see the business through the eyes of its ability to continue funding your operation. Honestly, there's one of the things I talked about in the post today with 101 Problems is what I see is a repeatable mistake that we make here in the United States, and it's failure of imagination, and also foreseeable failures that we knowingly or ambivalently march our way towards. I think about things like the Challenger explosion, and learning recently that there were whistleblowers, plural, I'm pretty sure, who had communicated to middle management, right, that a certain weather condition and there was another variable there, would likely make a key part of the spacecraft fail. And the day that it launched, those two variables had been met. I will play a segment from a great podcast episode of NPR Up First, the Sunday edition with Aisha Roscoe. I will play that for part of the 101 Ideas broadcast because I think it's well done. Aisha Roscoe is a wonderful journalist, and she is someone I would love to work for. I'd love to work with, would love to pitch with her too. And just that coverage about, it was celebrating the whatever anniversary of the Challenger, 30th, 50th, and was talking about the whistleblower. And I didn't know this story. I mean, there was a commission afterwards. There was a report similar to the 9/11 commission. You know, spoiler alert. There were signs that we ignored. We saw this, or are still seeing this play out with the October 7th attacks in Israel. And while that's not America, right now we appear to be inextricably linked, though I don't think the appearance is necessarily the truth. That said, You know, there's been reporting by the New York Times that the exact attack that happened on October 7th was being practiced in full regalia at the border and was spotted by IDF, Israeli soldiers. A woman communicated it and basically got a pat on the head, like, well, no, they're basically not capable of such a thing. I'll play that on 101 Ideas. That is something from, that's a great episode of The Daily with Ronan Bergman, who's a wonderful, I think he's an Israeli-based journalist. And I believe that the reason that these moments in history, to me, if you flip them upside down, they become good soil. They become good soil to plant new seeds. Meaning there is an entire messaging ecosystem that can be manipulated now more than ever. The internet and DIY media, those two things meeting themselves. Now, to date, that has been productized and gamified because everyone is playing for algorithms, right? Playing to algorithms. And the algorithms are playing to discovery, and time discovery, meaning that they want you to, that the algorithm wants to trigger the discovery of more content to the person on the other end of the phone or the device in order to maintain their attention on said platform that is hosted on the internet. Again, on the internet, Facebook is a website, meaning, yes, it's a platform, it's an app, it's a telecommunications business, it's a publishing business. It's so many different things. But because it's so many different things that have been all lumped into being a platform, it has so many protections that are all derived from this belief in a free and fair internet. And really, there was a belief in a free and fair internet. We will talk about that. We will talk about, on 101 Ideas, we will talk about the origin of the internet as the marketplace of ideas, because to revisit that origin now puts us in the position of being startup companies ourselves. The next Facebook is Penny Wren Media, or yourbusiness.com, or herbusiness.org, or theirbusiness.ai. The thing about all of these sites is what they were selling is what their software, the experience, the user experience that their software made. And then ultimately, they also began selling, but they sold that to us for free. They sold that to us for free as users. The idea of the concept, like the concept itself, is what people invested in. The audacity of a group of young people who were able to make this massive interconnected telecommunications network on their own, you know, and get so many people to be a part of it. And why? Because it was about connecting all of the little corners of the internet. When that company, Facebook, then has received so much attention and investment, that attention has come with millions of investment, millions of dollars of venture capital investment, which is to say, like, we're gonna take a shot. Legit, that's what, like, we're gonna take a shot on you. It's a throwing spaghetti at the walls. There's this idea to me. Now, we don't say this out loud, but there is an idea. There is an assumption with venture capital, that you will lose your shirt. Now, we don't say that out loud, and people who are venture capitalists would likely disagree with me. And I don't know what it is even like to have even remotely close to that amount of money. I'm no Peter Thiel. I'm no David Sachs. I'm no Andreessen Horowitz, Mark Andreessen, you know? What I am, though, is an observant mugga fugga, all right? And from where I stand, there came a time in the life of Facebook when everyone saw it's so popular. It's the most popular thing ever. But it just ingests money. Like, it just absorbs money. It just spends money. Like, you're giving this away for free to people to use. They're using it, they're loving it, and they're not going to pay for it. You know, why would they pay for it? What's their incentive to pay for it? But wouldn't people pay for them, for the people who are on this website called Facebook? They would pay for access to them. And what's more, the access to them is more direct than it would have been otherwise to promote or market said business, said product on television, because you're competing with higher ad buys, because who watches commercials these days? Because because research just showed that companies or consumers were connecting less with marketing. Insert fact check there. Insert fact check right here. And so we became the product of Facebook, of Amazon. The sellers also on Amazon became the product because they needed to create a competitive marketplace, which they then undercut. Insert here, I will replay, I think it's an episode of The Journal from 2020, 2021, where we hear about there's supposed to be a firewall between Amazon and the independent sellers, but some of the independent sellers were suing Amazon because they were saying that there's evidence to suggest that this firewall is being jumped regularly as a best practice by Amazon employees that are looking to see what independent sellers are selling merchandise that we could also make, that we could make more cheaply, and that we could sell for a lower price. And they would leverage the data and insights of another seller's P&L, their income statements, not their income statements, but just what they were purchasing on the site, because they would have that. But there was this, I don't know if it was an unspoken rule or not. And that's the thing, right? The unspoken rules. We are upset right now more than not about unspoken rules. Don't you think it's time, rather than debate what's unspoken, to speak the rules we want and to work towards solidifying those rules in ink, on paper, in amendment, in precedent? There are machines in this country whose only job is to manipulate outcomes. There is an entire group of lawyers somewhere who are working on loopholes in immigration laws and how to leverage those loopholes to achieve result A. There are another group of lawyers who are hunkered down, looking at immigration law, considering what precedents, what are the institutional pieces of those same immigration laws that can't be circumvented, right? Because they believe they want result B. Neither of those groups of lawyers has been elected into office, is ostensibly apparent anywhere. We know Russell Voigt, I don't even know if he was an actual lawyer or if he is just a thought leader or like a think tank guy. I only know him because of all of the coverage that Project 2025 got, and that, you know, many credit him for being the architect of the flood the zone strategy that started in the first day of the second Trump presidency with all the executive orders and has continued even now. You know why Flood the Zone? You know why I'm grateful for Flood the Zone? I'm grateful that we've had so much exposure to Flood the Zone, because the president and the powerful elite, whatever you want to call them, aren't the only ones with access to Flood the Zone tools and technology. And I don't even know that they're using technology in their Flood the Zone efforts, but we can. And in fact, it's incumbent upon us to do that. But where do you start, right? If we know that not only was October 7th a foreseeable failure, and I hope that that's not blasphemous to say, it doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it unwrong. I'm not weighing a political idea here. What I am saying, though, is that there's evidence. There's evidence that there was evidence of that occurrence previous to that occurrence in enough time where that there might have been an interception or mitigation that we'll never know if it could have deferred or deterred them completely. What we do know now, though, is that our empathy, our commiseration, our alliances in that time, up until now, have become like allegiance, have become like allegiance. And it makes no sense for America to have an allegiance to any other country but itself. And if there's one thing I think Americans can agree on, it's that. But because the only way you hear that conversation is, and well, we need to focus on the issues at home. Affordability. What is it? What is it? And are we really talking about affordability, or are we talking about we want to make more money? Because I'm talking about I want to make more money. Income is what I'm talking about. Livelihood. American livelihoods matter. They matter. We need to talk about which of the income brackets is the actual middle class. And we need to talk about, I heard Bernie Sanders wants to, what is it called? He wants to have a sovereign wealth fund that basically pays something like reparations to individuals that's from the IPOs, that's like the initial public offerings of these big tech companies that are being valued at billions of dollars. Fact check here what that looked like, what that looks like or will look like, or what Bernie Sanders says it should look like. This is one of those times when I'm like, right, we need competing ideas. We need competing ideas because, you know, another way for us to pursue reparative action that begins to reconcile some of the wrongs of the first version of the internet, the 2.0, would be for the businesses that need it the most. So these are the businesses that are always trying to sell to us, that require our consumption to live. That includes social media, that includes AI companies now, that includes car makers, that includes most manufacturers of goods and services. They, like, the level of dependence on our continued ability to buy the things they're selling is at a rate that, like, I don't think they understand how they can't afford for us to not afford things. And we can only afford all the things that America wants us to buy if we're making exponentially more money. And we only make exponentially more money if we have one of that, like, lifetime changing amounts, the type of amounts of money that those who had equity in little companies like, but they're big companies, so in companies like Anthropic and OpenAI, Anthropic that makes Claude, the LLM, the large language model, the OpenAI that makes ChatGPT, the LLM, the large language model. When people talk about AI, they're often just talking about those, right? And those companies, man, I lost my train of thought. And those companies, because they require our consumption, the life-changing amount of money, like, there are employees at those companies who received equity in those companies as a part of working there, as part of their compensation packages. And now that those companies are going public, those shares have been a part of the company's valuation. So you're talking about companies that have been valued at least $1 billion each. And so even a facilities worker, my friend Erica, who's a marketer and she works in equity compensation, was telling me this. You know, someone who's a facilities worker or janitor who got shares in the company might now be turning a profit of $1 million, might become a millionaire through this, through these companies going public. We experienced this type of mass wealth generation before, when Facebook went public, when Amazon went public, these other companies, right? And it added more people to the software developer class of people. Now, really, I believe that the next generation of software developers are you and me and everyone we know. And that, if seen that way, companies might feel more obliged to fund our income efforts, especially our income efforts on their behalf. The reason that employers exist is because they want other people to help them achieve their goals. And their goals should have some type of line, dotted or straight, to money, to bottom line. And even if you're a nonprofit, same thing. Even if you're a B Corp, same thing. Like, yes to the mission, yes to the service, and also, when I talked to my little cousin Christian today, who looks so adorable in his glasses all the time, and I'll bring up a picture, I was reminded that he He's a jewel. Like I already said that. He's a jewel. He is the perfect spokesperson in waiting for who knows what brand. I'm talking about an online optical retailer. I'm talking about a children's museum. I'm talking about a clothing line. I'm talking about a STEM, like science, technology, engineering, and math, ed tech, an educational technology company. I'm talking about a media conglomerate that wants to, I don't know, that wants to test some new programming for kids. That's what I'm talking about, right? And there are being discovered, us being discovered in this country is what I'm talking about. It's harder for us to be discovered right now. This is him. Look at him. Him so precious. This is his school picture. Him so precious. So talking to him today was great. It was great. And he reminded me that I just think there's so much. Anyway, I'm babbling. Let me stop. All right, so here goes my mom. I can hear her right now. Thank you. Jeez, I'm like, what are you talking about? I can hear her saying that. Rewind. Rewind. All right, let me pick up here's my 101 Ideas for America folder. Just had this open. I want to read, so this is a mock-up of a website that I believe could live as basically a living portfolio for Christian, and could be sent along with custom stories about where Christian fits in to a brand's market positioning or an underserved customer segment that for X, Y, and Z reasons, he would be uniquely suited, right, to tap. Or a course correction for something that a brand tried to do before, but maybe didn't get right. Now, these are questions that I can ask ChatGPT. So I'm going to read you so this is all my input about wanting to get at what I saw is the problem of person discovery, meaning so we've decided that being a personal brand, having a personal brand, it is worth the time and worth the effort. There are, again, people who are making their living online. There are people whose lives and income brackets have been transformed based on that. There's also like no predictability. And however, it could be more predictable if you're not trying to reach everybody on the internet. And if you're not doing the work for free, building an audience, and then only getting paid. See, the thing about Facebook and all that first generation of startups in the tech economy, they were being paid to build. And they didn't even have to pitch being able to make anyone money. I'm tired of hearing OpenAI and Anthropic, these companies who are at the forefront of AI, technology, and AI innovation, but who seem despondent almost about AI participation, wringing their hands but also shrugging their shoulders. I know with my whole heart that what would unlock the participation layer is money. And I'm not saying necessarily, rather than us paying you for the subscriptions. You know, you really ought to pay us, because I know that that would come with a whole host of intrusions on our rights and our data. I already know that. That said, I do believe that they might stop for 30 seconds for the right pitch that solves the participation problem in a way where, one, they can demonstrate how much they do want to support humans having income in this country, and they want to ride the coattails of anything that shows the value that someone can create with AI is compounded, like compound something that they could have done on their own, that they couldn't have done on their own, and how it's now contributing to their livelihood and more. The thing is, like, there's a lot of that disparate news and stuff online, but there's not like a clearinghouse. There's not an industry leader approved, if you will, version of a marketplace to shop for these AI use cases. And I believe that we should be able to shop for AI use cases for free. I do. And I believe that also we should be paid by Anthropic to develop AI use cases. Because the more use cases we build, the more people that use it. The more people that use it, the more people that build. The more people that build, the more money. Because these use cases would be tied to generating income. American livelihoods matter. The one thing that we haven't tried as an idea is raising the income by X% of the entire population. Getting the entire population to a blank percent, like to a blank salary bracket. That's a thing that we can think through computationally. That's a thing that we can talk about with AI. That's a thing that if all of us put our minds to, we can even map out like what would be the baby step this year, what would be the next step. And I'm not talking about it has to happen in our lifetime, but I do believe we might be surprised when it happens. All of the money that people have earmarked for AI, what if that money were reallocated to this American Livelihoods Matter project, right? And the American Livelihoods Matter project was deployed across the country. It's a sponsored project, you know, deployed across the country somehow. I'm just talking out my head right now, you know what I mean? But like this is the type of talking off my head that led me to 101 Ideas. Now, again, hopefully 101 Ideas will be a little bit more refined and structured. My mother tells me I need to have an outline. I say even writing an outline gives me stage fright. There's so much here to me, and this is the first time I'm stress testing it, and I don't even have anyone. Every time I stress test it, no one knows what I'm talking about. So even doing the broadcast is only literally step one, because step two is sending the segments of the broadcast that have the problem meets solution, right? That's the idea. And then whatever the, maybe it's this, maybe it's that, players are for that idea. So if it's American Livelihoods Matter, the players are Anthropic, OpenAI. The players are also, commercial business A, commercial business B. I've been really focused on Disney and Campbell's recently for some reason. I've been thinking about how Campbell's, I think it's like always in the top 5 of the Fortune 500. And we don't talk about succession planning for consumer brands, meaning who's the next generation of people who are going to buy Campbell's soup is who? You have to get Christian to fall in love with Campbell's soup. You have to get my niece Cooper to fall in love with Campbell Soup. And I'm not even trying to pimp them as like, Campbell Soup, take my I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is foreseeable failure and failure of imagination. We clearly, we know better. We know better now. We know better. And knowing better is not just for us to debate what we know. Knowing better is to apply what we know differently ourselves in our own lives, in our own hopes and dreams, not just in our disgust, not just in our distaste, not just in our political disdain. Anyway, I'll read you from this. So this is me talking to myself. I'm trying to solve a market failure. The creator economy assumes the sequence is person builds audience, hopes audience becomes valuable, brands buy access to that audience. That's backwards. My idea reverses it. Problem, identify the smallest person who authentically represents that problem. Identify the brands already spending money to solve that problem. Create a digital asset or artifact that proves fit. Use AI to continuously match the asset to buyers. So in this case, my cousin Christian isn't the product, Christian is evidence. The product is the matching system, and that's what I'm building with AI, because now Claude and ChatGPT, they can automate a task for you and send it on their own without you needing to manually trigger it. So the pitch is, we've identified an underserved customer story. Your marketing budget is probably already trying to reach. For example, Pair Eyewear is a company, isn't buying influencers. They're buying lower customer acquisition cost, higher trust, more first-time buyers, parents sharing photos, repeat purchases, earned media, and lifetime customer value. Right now, they pay agencies, they pay Meta, they pay Google, they pay creators, photographers, videographers, paid media specialists, affiliate marketers, PR firms, and social campaigns to acquire that customer. Christian competes with none of them. Instead, he becomes one piece of evidence inside that acquisition system. So there is enough for everybody. There is. I believe there is. So what is AI doing? It's not creating the post. It's not even trying to make Christian famous. Instead, AI is continually asking, who has this problem today? Example, Pair Eyewear launches superhero frame toppers. We have a child whose entire archive, their existing documents, like all of the photos of him and video of him, shows that he dresses up as superheroes for Halloween while wearing glasses. A children's museum opens a vision exhibit. We have an educational family documenting childhood curiosity. An optometry chain wants Black families to schedule preschool eye exams. We have authentic documentation of a Black child confidently wearing glasses since preschool. We don't know for a fact that these companies have that problem, but I can use my intrepid skills as a journalist to surface where the problem is and how person A or person B might speak to it so that they could license, right? And this is licensing. I'm thinking of this as licensing. Like they can license their name, their likeness, however they wanna do it, or their access to their archive of data if they wanted to tell a story through old pictures or photos or video of Christian. If they wanted to sponsor something on like help him set up a YouTube channel, like fund it, like invest in it, the same way that venture capital investors would have funded Facebook. They want to pay his mom or him a nominal amount, what they would see as a nominal amount, right, to create this platform. And while he's playing video games, he'll also be buying glasses or doing X, Y, or Z thing. The thing I do keep struggling with this idea of like, I need to find my bottom line point on selling oneself, because I'm wrestling. The the American project, oh man, it was built on the need for human bodies, right? It was yeah, look, the cotton economy. And from cotton to content, you've got, you know, the Facebook and the from cotton to content. So with cotton, you've got unpaid workers and chattel slavery, a completely extractive labor economy, right? That is taking from a group of people. And then you've got the content, technology, and you've got, not, instead of plantations, you've got platforms. And instead of human generated cotton output, you've got human generated content output that is presented to us as free usage, in the same way that having a place to live or food to eat was presented to a slave, an enslaved person, as the privilege of being here. It's a privilege of being here, asset, I guess we're being told. But if you think about it, if the thing that Facebook needs is us being on Facebook, then how is it that Facebook is valued at millions and millions of dollars? Like, that value comes from the amount of money that people spend to have access to us, to you and to me. And much of that access comes with smoke and mirrors, numbers on clicks, engagement, how long you stayed somewhere. Every now and then you might get a conversion number. Did somebody click something? But often clicking something doesn't mean doing the thing that matters, right? It just means going to the next part of the step or the funnel. And yet people pay a lot of money for those false starts, right? People pay a lot of money to fail in the same way over and over and over again, and have been since the 2000s. What if one or two executives on the S&P 500 or of the Fortune 500, you know, were to say, you know, I want to reallocate half of the budget that we currently spend on any digital internet-based effort, anything. Because any AI innovation, any AI productivity gains we get, we can almost guarantee it's gonna be on the internet, because that's where all of the AI technology lives. Even if you've got it native on your machines, right? It still relies on the internet. And it simplifies the problem right now, because the problem is, it's not that AI is going to take our jobs. The problem is that the AI is going to just be the distraction, maybe one of the last, that was really a lever, like a key moment, a lever where humans, like the American human, could have done anything, could have put its mind and muscle behind its message of liberty and freedom and self-evident humanity and money. Their money behind it too. Their money behind it. When the rest of us feel like there's a mind and there's money and muscle behind wanting to plug us in. AI operators. The country needs them. The country needs people trying new ways to do things and using AI as a vehicle to do that, because there's this technology that, I mean, people call it sycophantic, but it won't tell you no. And you might say, well, Penny, that's how you got so delusional. I was delusional before. I've been delusional my whole life. I've had ambitions my entire life. And this moment at age 49, in the year 2026, that is the 250th anniversary of the country, this moment, maybe it was made for delusional middle-aged people, you know? Maybe it was made for people who've been cataloging and curating different ways of doing and seeing things. Maybe it was made for one more balls to the wall effort to just say, hey, world, here I am. That's something my dad would say. Hey, world, here I am. Because really, visibility is all anybody's after. That's what the marketer's after when they're trying to put a business in front of you. That's what the creator's after when they're making content. It's what the politicians are after when they're campaigning. It's what everybody's after, visibility. It's what the Declaration of Independence was all about. It was a declaration that only mattered because it was written down, because it was visible. So whatever, I guess I'm on a bit of a soapbox. This may or may not have made sense. But so it is. So before we go, what should I do? What should I do? Why don't we play, well, we'll play another song from the Brian album, huh? Let me make sure that, oh man. Yeah, okay, let's play another song from the Brian album. A love song or a fun song? What's that? What's that I say? What's that? Oh, we want a love song. Okay. What do you say? That we want a fun song. We want a fun. Oh, I see of some. What do you want? I want a hump song. I want a hump song. Oh, look at that person. Oh, the hummingbirds. So we have a family of hummingbirds in our backyard. You know, we live in a park. It feels sometimes like a bird sanctuary. And we have a hummingbird feeder that Brian takes wonderful care of. And last year, the hummies, as we call them, were frequent visitors at our home around the feeder. They were friends. And they're back this year. And when the end of the season last year was approaching, I felt really sad about, you know, knowing that they were leaving. It really felt like grief. And now that they're back, I believe that they're even getting friendlier faster than they were last year. And I do believe it's the same group of hummies. And again, like I said, been delusional all my life. So their names are Henrietta, Helena, Hermione, and Harvey. Harvey, of course, is the male and has red right here. That's how you know Harvey. Henrietta has a little green on her back. Helena has even more green on her back. And Hermione is smaller and all gray. So those are the hummingbirds. And this is a song called Come Back Hummingbirds that I wrote and recorded on Suno. And I published on the album Brian plus Penny. Stay Free Volume 1. Oh, Stay Free Volume 2 is Power 2026, coming to a platform near you soon.
At the end of summer and the early fall, we go from having a lot of hummingbirds to none at all. That's when you know it's time for them to go, and they begin flying south for the winter, filling up before they hit the sky. Flying south are hummies, they're filling up before they hit the sky. But what are they gonna eat on the way there? What are they gonna eat on the way there? What are they gonna eat on the way there? Our hummingbirds. And what do they eat when they get?
That was the hummingbird song. I found out today that my cousin Patrice has watched some of my videos. So thank you, Patrice. I love you. Mommy, hi. That's it. You know, those are the two who I know might see it. Happy day.